So let me ask you a question to start off. Where did you get your ideas from?
Well, this one actually came, and I've written a lot about this, and everyone asks this, so I'm pretty well practiced in answering this question. This idea came to me when I was 11, so I don't know what grade that was, but when I was 11, fifth grade, I had this one friend who used to always come over to our house, and he would find his way into the kitchen, into our candy jar. So for his birthday, I wanted to make him like a candy dispenser, but I looked online, I couldn't find anything about how to do that. So I went on our recycling bin and I found a bunch of old scraps, like an old candy box and a paper towel tube and just random pieces of paper. And I sat down with this pair of scissors and a hot glue gun, and I cut them up and made them into a candy dispenser with a little greeting card on the back. And I gave it to him and he loved it. And it kind of stuck with me, but I never did anything with it until later when I wanted to make money, because being a 13-year-old, obviously I wanted to have money, but I couldn't go get a job. But what I could do is I could start a business, because in the state of Georgia, you can work on a family business once you're 12, which is younger than the legal age to work in an actual, like if I wanted to go work at Publix or something. So I thought about all the different things I'd done, and that kind of stuck out to me. So I thought I should try that again. So I can actually grab it. So I made these little hearts here with this little knob, and when you turn it, you can see the candy actually comes out, and it's entirely made of paper. This took a few prototypes to make, so once I got it down well enough, I posted it on the Etsy shop that I mentioned, and I had my mom post about it on Facebook, and I think I put like 5 up there, and they sold out in about 12 hours. So I made more, and I put this up there, and those sold out again in about 12 hours. But I was still just making them by hand. So eventually, as I was saying, I scaled up and I made them into kits. So now if you bought one, you would get it as a kit and you'd put it together yourself.
Now, let me ask you a question. Hold that there. What are the raw materials that you needed to put that together?
Just paper and plastic.
And that's it? And that's what you're creating with it? Great. And don't forget the candy.
Oh, and the candy.
That's true.
Do you include the candy?
No.
Okay, just the kit.
So interesting. Oh, great.
Sebastian, I like coming to these events, these kinds of things, especially when I see a young man like you, because you're inspirational, you know, and I see somebody like you and I go, wow, such raw talent, such a gift that you have, and it inspires me. Okay, I've been an entrepreneur for 20 something years. I've been an inventor. I don't like the word entrepreneur, because when I look at you, I don't look at you as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is a very general term that's used. You're either entrepreneurial or you're entrepreneur. I see you as more of a pioneer, a trendsetter, an inventor, right? You're an inventor. You invent. So I would like for you to use that terminology, not just entrepreneur, but kids your age are going to relate to an inventor, innovator, things like those are terms that I would use for you, okay? Because you're kind of the one step ahead, right? You're the future. So my advice to you is this at your age, and I say this with sincerity. It's okay to fail, okay? I want you to go into life in your journey as an entrepreneur, an inventor, a trendsetter, whatever you do, and know it's okay to fail, because you will find that failing will get you to the next step and the next step and the next step, okay? People are gonna say failure is wrong, and we are always afraid of failure. Failure is not wrong for someone that has a business, okay? Failure is part of it, and it's what's gonna get you to the next step, okay? So for you, it's okay to fail, all right? I'm giving you the green light. It's okay to fail, all right? Because you're learning right now. You're learning like, okay, I made a mistake. I had too much waste. I'm not a very good public speaker, but every time you get a little bit better, okay? Because of that failure, you acknowledge it and you move to that next step, okay? But for you, you're an inspiration. You're a dream. So I wish you the very best. Your mom and dad have done a great job with you, because You are very inspirational.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah, Sebastian, it's interesting that I think finding your mom was a great thing for you because you became the CEO, the chief everything officer. And so many entrepreneurs miss that point, and they focus on development, they focus on sales, and their businesses fail because you've got to do all these different things. So the exposure you've got to building the product, selling the product, fulfilling orders, all that is going to be, that's a skill that's scalable and usable in any business, whether you're in, hunting apparel or high-end computing. All those skills as a chief everything officer will always go with you. The other thing, I tell people, why do most companies fail? I said, there's focus and execution. They try to do too many different things at the same time. And you're not doing that, you're focusing the product. But execution really comes about, it's easy to make one of those, it's hard to make 50 of those, okay? And so learning how to scale a business is a critical skill that actually probably half the entrepreneurs have a great idea, they get a few customers, and they can't scale the business, and they fail. So you realize that early on, that's another great skill you've got. So I agree with Craig, you've got a very, very bright future in that. I'm excited to be able to say someday that I knew you well.
Yep.
Carolyn?
I work for the public school system, and I want to say to you, Sebastian, what you're hearing from him about failure is not the message you get at school. And Denmark's a great school. We have great schools, but we have failed you all, your parents, us, by not allowing you to fail. And so listen to what they're saying. I've done this job. I've placed kids in internships with Fulton County Schools. And I'm telling you that because business person after business person, college professor, these esteemed doctors of biomedical engineering have said, and I've asked them, what are we doing wrong? What can we do better for Sebastian and for Samuel? And they're like, well, it's unfortunate your system is not set up to allow them to fail. And you get off to school, maybe you're going to major in engineering, maybe you're going to major in business, maybe you're going to just go into business. Listen to what he is saying. Now, I don't mean use this speech against me when you fail something in Denmark.
That F is an A right now.
The F is not the new A, but you're going to get a totally different message at school. The expectations of your parents is that you're probably more than capable of making good grades in school. But listen to what he's saying. That's where you learn. I mean, college professors have said that to me. These freshmen come to Georgia Tech, they fall apart. They don't know how to rebound from failure. And that's what he is saying to you. So just know that the message you're getting at school is not wrong. It's just slightly flawed because we're not preparing you for the real world, especially in inventing and everything else.
There's a great saying that success is on the far side of failure.
Amen.
Ah.
Very good. Love it.
Back there?
Love it.
So first of all, I've watched you since the beginning, so it's been.
Could you speak up a little bit
Yes,
further?
so first of all, I've watched you since the beginning, and it's been great to see where you were then and where you are now. The comment is, they always say, don't work for your family or with your family on anything, in any business, because it never works out. So that's not the truth, obviously, with you, and I think people will see, but the curiosity is, when did you finally decide, I've got to fire my mom or fire my family, and I want to take complete charge of everything that I'm doing? Because you're still in high school. It's not like you're in college or you graduated. So I was just curious when you decided, and kind of a little bit why, maybe help the group understand that process in your mind, if you can.
Well, I think I really decided that I wanted to in maybe like 2020, but I didn't actually do it until like maybe December 2020 is when I kind of decided that I wanted to. And I didn't actually do it until like April of this year because I was kind of worried how my mom would take it. But really it was because, you know, we're together all the time because we live together, and she'd be picking me up from like practices or events. And we'd just be sitting in the car and she'd bring up something like, I have an idea, or do you want to do this? And it's just, I just don't want to talk about it at that point. So it's just kind of that, I never really had a break from it. So I think that's really why I decided to do it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he asked me actually, he actually said, at one point, he said, sometimes I wish you were just my mom, just instead of my partner. I feel like you're my boss. I just want you to be my mom.
One of the interesting things about what you've done in sort of getting on Caroline's comment is that school has a tendency to eliminate risk.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a trophy, everybody gets an A. But in the real world, not everybody gets a trophy and not everybody gets an A. And the biggest part of being a startup or an entrepreneur is managing risk. Now, you can take on risk as this nebulous sort of thing, but generally it's the risk of failure. And the cost of that risk to somebody like yourself, and matter of fact, most people under the age of 25 who don't have to support kids or put them through a college, is that the cost of failing with that risk is very small. So the opportunities that present yourself at your age, and probably for the next 10 years, is that you can assume a lot of risk, but risk with a purpose, not just to do things crazy, you know, like driving your car off the road and some other things I won't discuss about my past. So you can actually assume a lot more risk than people who are older than you, and you should take advantage of that. It's a real important thing to realize, and I think that's one of the things that Caroline is referring to, is that realize in the real world, you just don't let your school get in the way of your education. So
Yeah, just something else, just for the audience here. I've known Sebastian for a while. We bought 4 of the gifts, but I gave two of my grandchildren, and then 2 a niece and a nephew who were graduating from college, and all 4 of them love these things. So, you know, if you're thinking about something, but this is a great gift, you know, Thanksgiving, Halloween time, Halloween with the candy, but you ought to do it. I don't know how your productions ability is with school and swimming and everything else. Question here is, have you thought about expanding, quote, hiring people to help you with the business, or where do you stand going forward with the business?
Well, I actually, I decided like in August that I was kind of done with this, like with the whole selling them, and now I kind of just want to focus on school and swimming and other things, and maybe just do more events like this where I talk about it rather than actually selling them.
Well, you could do that, but I think, as you mentioned, you're very inspiring. Maybe you have some younger employees. You could find some younger employees, some kids that can pick up some of the burden of this thing. And the reason I'm suggesting that is, you're the chief everything officer, but when you become the chief executive officer, it's no longer what you do, it's what you don't do. You have other people do for you. So that'd be a great learning experience for you, is actually transferring some of your skills to other people. And you'd learn a lot by doing that if you can do it. And it doesn't have to be a big thing, but just being able to teach somebody what you're doing would be a great learning experience for you and really help you later on, because you will have employees someday. Okay, and start now by learning how to handle it, what to say, what not to say on it, and that's be a great skill set.
I have here, I'm going to give you this here, up here. This is, you did something for Denmark, the marketing campaign. Could you explain to us what you learned from that experience and what were the ups and downs of it? You might want to explain
Yeah,
first,
give me some of that stuff. Okay.
just give the situation as to what you did and how you were trying to market to them.
Well, I was selling them these Denmark machines that had the little logo on them. And it was part of like a fundraiser for the senior class. So the parents would buy them. And the ones I was selling actually had like a little graduation hat and everything. So it was kind of cute. They'd buy them as like a gift for the seniors. And then part of the sale would go towards having like a fun week for the seniors. And it didn't work out that well because it was kind of like right after another fundraiser that the school was doing at the time. So I think a lot of parents did that one and then didn't want to do another one. So I think there were like only a few sales, but I kind of learned that if you're going to do something like that for big like sales and events and fundraisers and things like that, it's the most important thing is timing, because you have to make sure that people are willing to participate. Both because you don't want them to feel like they're being like they have all these fundraisers and stuff being like shoved down their throats, like one after the other. But then also because you want to make sure that they want to participate in it because it's like at the right time. So timing is very important for things like that.
That's a great example of what we're talking about failing. That's not a failure, like abject failure, right?
Yeah.
But it didn't work out the way I expected it to, and here's what I learned, right? That's exactly what.
Well, also a little bit of a failure because now we have like 2,000 sheets of navy blue pen chalk. So
But the key is you learn from it,
That's
not that you stop because of it.
You know, you might be able to use them at Notre Dame. You know? Wally,
Yeah, you mentioned you're going to stop OctoGift, is that what I heard? Yeah, so that's one exit strategy, just to stop, but when you have a company with other people depending on you, you just can't do that. And so I really think a next lesson for you would be a different exit strategy. How maybe you could transition it to someone else, maybe license it, that way you get mail money, where mail money would come in the mail just through royalties, but it'd give you something else to learn along the way. But again, all of us that had startups, you have people working for you. If you just come in and say, okay, I'm done, I'm stopping, you know, you got people's lives that you impact. So I think you can learn a little bit more by looking at a different exit strategy. That'd be my suggestion.
I have no suggestions, but you said something that I want to teach my children. And I made it my number one priority, and is to love yourself in order to, love others. But the message I heard from you is you fired your mother. I was going, that's kind of awkward. But what you did is you took that step to love yourself, to be assured of yourself, to get up there and do that public speaking. Kudos to you, because that's the greatest lesson that I can give my children. I can give them businesses or money. It's not important compared to that one lesson that you learned on yourself at such a young age. So congratulations on that. That's well done.
thank you.
Good job.
Mike,
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting here thinking back to when my daughter was your age. She's now 22, in her last year of college, et cetera. And it's amazing to see what you've done. It truly should be inspirational to every kid your age. You're willing to go out and public speak. My daughter wouldn't let go of her cell phone. She can't. She would rather text than call somebody.
Yeah.
And you actually, what you don't maybe realize because you're still, in high school, but when you get out of college, you're going to be so much farther ahead because you're not afraid to go up to somebody and say, hi, my name's Sebastian.
Amen.
And that's inspirational on itself. And then the operations behind it of learning to streamline things, reduce your costs, et cetera, improve performance. You can take that into sports. You can take that into, your personal life. You can take it into your business life, to your next job, et cetera. And you're going to go far no matter what you choose to do.
Yeah.
So.
Greg,
Go ahead, bud.
okay,
Yeah, bud.
Hey, Sebastian, I followed you and your mom all over LinkedIn everywhere, so I'm very familiar with your product. OctoGifts, okay, so forgive me for being late, blame Uber for that, okay? But one of the main reasons that I did want to come to see you live was because you fired your mother, okay? And interesting enough, I have a couple of friends whose moms are their mom managers. And piggybacking off of what was said about negotiations when you have employees later on. I'm interested in, I can understand living with your mom and being in the car with her and her bringing things up all the time. And I noticed when you walked over there that you wanted to find somewhere to sit your stuff, and she made a move actually to get up and help you, but then she sat back, you know? So the question is, when you do have employees, think back on not working with your mom, and my question is, did you speak with her first about what you were feeling and then try and set some boundaries? Because she's probably one of your biggest advocates that you're going to have, and maybe set them boundaries and then learn something from that experience. Say, hey, listen, these are the boundaries at this point in time. I'm your son at this point in time. I don't want these questions in the car. And I ask that because she's going to be your biggest advocate. She's never going to stop being your mom, but her level of skill in business and how to navigate it is something that a lot of people would like to take advantage of. And to give you an example, the top 1%, they follow in their parents' footsteps and they listen to what their parents are telling them. And at no point in time do they, and this is not a hit against you, I'm just curious to know if you thought of setting some boundaries, or did you just, it's like it's time to move on?
No, we did try the boundaries.
There it is right there.
It was kind of like, I did, like, that was kind of the first thing, like, I did, but then they'd always fall apart after a couple weeks. So never really stuck.
So your
What
mom
you
got
mean?
the calendar.
What you may want to do is actually rehire her, but transition her to the honorary chairman position.
No.
So the honorary chairman, they speak, but nobody listens to them.
Okay.
Okay, Sebastian, I'm gonna flip my hat to my dad hat now, right? As a father, I'm gonna talk to you about that for a moment. You've heard managing risk. The other thing that you're gonna wanna do is manage pressure, okay? Remember Spider-Man? With great power comes great responsibility. Okay, there's something to be said about that, because you at your age and starting so early, you're gonna start putting pressure on yourself to do better and better and better. There's a lot of pressure with that when you have this pursuit of excellence. Okay, as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, you always wanna go one step further. And people all around, you're gonna say, hey, you can do this and you can try this and do that. And it creates a lot of pressure. So for my advice to you is, it's okay to be 15. It's okay to go swim. It's okay to take a break. Okay, it's okay to breathe. It's okay to say no. Okay, one thing you learn in business, it's better to say no than yes. Okay, because when you're at a certain age, you say yes to everything, and then it creates a lot of pressure because you're trying to fill orders and you're trying to do your homework and you're trying to do this. Sometimes you have to say no. No, I don't want to do that. And I'm hearing that right now, which is going to reduce your pressure, because with pressure, it's going to create this experience that you're not going to enjoy. You don't want to have that kind of pressure, especially at 15. Okay, so not only managing risk, but managing your pressure is going to be very important to you, because now that you've started this, you're going to keep going and you're going to want to get better and you're going to want to do better and you're going to want to do bigger things, and more people are going to tell you things. You have to be able to say, no, I want to go swim. I want to go on vacation. I want to sleep in. Okay, that is okay.
I tell entrepreneurs, it's a great thing about being an entrepreneur. You never have to worry about not having things to worry about.
Yeah.
But managing that thing, and it's all about anxiety, controlling the anxiety and pressure.
Dan Fry on Zoom, do you have something there?
Yeah, so I think it's awesome the experience that you've had so far. You are light years ahead of where I was at your age. I mean, light years ahead. But there will come a time where you will encounter failure, and it's going to throw you for a loop. I was a straight A student through elementary school, middle school, high school. I didn't even know what a B was. Got into college, 2 semesters in, I promptly failed out. So, I went from straight A's to failing out of college, and I had no idea how I was going to explain that to my parents. And more importantly, personally, it threw me for a loop, right? Because I had no idea how to fail. I didn't even know what failure was. So, there were several years after that where I'm trying to figure out, what does this even mean, right? And you absorb a lot of that personally. So my advice is this: when you get to the point where you have failed at something, embrace it and enjoy it as part of the ride. It's not a reflection on you. It's not a reflection on something that you weren't able to do. It's simply the universe just pushing you in a different direction. And looking back on it now, 20 odd years later, failing out of college was literally the best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, it put me into IT when I was 17. From there, was able to launch a cybersecurity career, and now I'm launching a company in the cybersecurity space. None of that would have happened had I not had that experience failing out of tech. So sometimes the road less traveled is the right road, and just when it happens, just be brave and take the path.
Very
I
good.
think it's awesome what you've done. So
And thank you very much.
So, technical question per se. You thought of this idea, you started doing it. Most business and entrepreneurs do a little bit of research. I would imagine there was nothing like this out there per se, correct? That you looked around and nobody was really doing it, or at least in this area. So I would assume you did that. Have you looked at or sort of trademarking, making sure that no one else piggybacks and tries to take your idea away and scale it and make it big, and it's their own business, and all of a sudden you're like, well, gee, there it goes. Because a lot of entrepreneurs forget to do that, and then someone else steals their idea, and then it's too late. So I'm just curious, are those some of the thoughts or things that you've been thinking about? Because there's obviously, again, still young, so you're getting a lot of advice and hearing from a lot of people that already have done those things, made those mistakes.
Well, yeah, currently I have one official patent on it, and there's a second one pending. And the name and the logo and all that are trademarked already too.
What did they patent? What were the claims?
One of them is a design patent, and the other one is a utility patent for how it actually works.
Patent 15, solid work. I got 8, took me 63 years.
Sebastian, one of the things, what Wally said, an exit strategy, first of all, you come across it so well. If you did a video and sent it to Hallmark, a couple of card companies, and say, I'm thinking about exiting this business like that, would you be interested? And you may get some people's attention. And if they just, because you have patents, if they just wrote you a small check, sure better than nothing, okay? But doing a video of yourself, very similar to what you did today, but talking about the product and where it came from. I wouldn't be surprised if you got some interest from someone. If nothing else, that they would use you and the logo on their website to talk about the product, because it's as Craig has, many of us thought and said, you're very inspirational about it, and there may be an exit strategy here that could really work for you.
I totally disagree with Tom.
That's fine. That's what the place is all.
Respectfully disagree.
I respectfully disagree. Don't sell. Approach them for a licensing deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll get a residual monthly
Yeah.
check. And if somebody like a Hallmark would pick it up, your college is paid for, your house is paid for, potentially the Lamborghini. It can happen. Am I right?
I agree with Mike. He's right. When I said approach him, obviously a license deal would be great.
Craig, last comment.
Anybody, okay. Sebastian, here's the deal. We're all old fogies, okay? So we're looking, yeah, well, yeah. We're looking at you and seeing that what could be the end result, okay? And here's my suggestion to you. It's okay to be a kid. It's okay to put it in a compartment. Even if you don't want to do it, it's okay. Because here's the deal, you're 15. Enjoy being 15, okay? Then something new will come about. This might come up. But the thing is, I don't want you to feel pressure and anxiety when you hear all this feedback about trademarks and patents and all that. Because at 15, you don't have to worry about that, okay? It's okay I want you to be able to go swim and enjoy your life, okay? Because at some point, you'll get there. And you'll be able to focus, and then you'll work on, okay, I want to really expand this business. I really want to spend the time. But right now you're like juggling, okay, I want to sleep in and I want to go swim and I want to spend time with my family. And now you have all this feedback about, you know, growing this business, expanding it, trademarks, you know, all that legal garbage, right? That time will come, okay? But the thing is, I'm more concerned about your pressure, okay? The pressure and the anxiety that comes with all of this feedback, because a lot of it's advanced. If I were your age, I'd want to walk out of here, oh my God, all this legalese and all this stuff is too much for a 15-year-old, okay? I just want you to know it's okay to be 15, okay? You are light years ahead of everyone in this room, okay? In terms of entrepreneurship and starting a business, you are, but it's okay to take a step back and take a breather. That's my advice.
Closing comment, don't forget your girlfriends.
Yeah.
That's real important.
Anybody on Zoom who has a comment?
I want to
Okay.
put a caveat to what Craig said. That's great advice as long as the ex-CEO doesn't fire him.
Sebastian, could you give us your contact information, how people are going to get in touch with you? Do you have an email address, and give us your website? I will actually try to share it.
You can email at info@octogifts.com, and the website is octogifts.com.
All right,
It's a great website, too. It's a great website.
Yeah.
yeah.
Good.
Sebastian, great job.